Something historic is happening in Iran, and it's not being explained honestly. Millions of people are openly defying a regime built on fear and violence and religious control. And here's the part most people don't even understand. This uprising is not just political, it's spiritual. The Islamic Republic of Iran is terrified, not of America or sanctions or even war, but of a gospel they cannot stop. Here's what we're seeing in Iran. It's a theocratic state, and that means religion and government are fused, not to bring freedom, but control. That means women are beaten for refusing hijabs, protesters imprisoned or executed, Christians arrested for worshiping privately, house churches raided, and that's not religious freedom, or rather religion freely chosen. That's religion enforced. But Proverbs 29:2 says, when the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. And right now, Iran is definitely groaning. Let me tell you why the regime, though, is losing control, and there's hope. Here's what tyrants never understand. Fear works until it doesn't. And right now, it doesn't. Young people are done, women are done, families are done. But here's the shock. The fastest growing Christian population in the Middle East is not what you might think. It's not Israel. It's Iran. Underground churches, secret baptisms, former Muslims encountering Jesus in dreams. Acts 5:39 talked about this. If this plan or this undertaking is of man, it'll fail. But if it's of God, you will not be able to overthrow them. That verse, I believe, haunts the Iranian regime. In fact, let's look at it this way. Christianity versus religious tyranny. The critical contrast. Christianity spread, you need to know, without armies or coercion or political power. Jesus said in Matthew 26:52, put your sword in its place, for all who take up the sword will perish by the sword. So Christianity grows by sacrifice, truth, grace, love, martyrdom, unfortunately. The Iranian regime maintains power by fear, imprisonment. These are the polar opposite. Violence, execution to the tune of thousands in the last week. But when a religion must be enforced at gunpoint, it's already failed. Next, persecution proves the gospel is threatening. Listen, if Christianity were harmless, the regime wouldn't persecute it, but they do. Why? Well, it's not harmless. The gospel produces free people, and free people cannot be ruled by lies. In fact, one of my favorite scriptures, it's what our church is named after, from John 8:32, our church's mission 8:32. It says, and it's Jesus talking, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That verse is illegal in Iran because it works. So how should Christians think about Iran today? Well, not with hatred, not with racism, not with fear, but with clarity and courage. And here's what that looks like. First, love the Iranian people. They're not our enemy. Genesis 1:27 says God created man in his own image. 2, oppose religious tyranny. No government has the right to force belief. They can't do it anyway. 2 Corinthians 3:17 says where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. Next, stand with the persecuted church. Silence is not neutrality. Hebrews 13:3 says, remember those who are in prison as though in prison with them. Next, should Christians support Iran in breaking free? Yes, but not with bombs first. Christians support freedom of conscience, protection of women, end to executions, the right to worship. We don't export the gospel with drones. We unleash it with truth. Now, does that mean I don't like the idea of our president intervening to save free people? I actually do like it because I want to see freedom of religion. I want to see people come to Christ, but that's not the main way they're going to do it. Listen, this moment matters because empires rise and empires fall, but the word of God remains. Isaiah 40 verse 8 says, the grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of our God will stand forever. Iran is shaking because the gospel is advancing. And history shows us something terrifying for tyrants, but pretty hopeful for believers. You can kill the messengers, but you cannot kill the message. So what's my bottom line here? Well, I want you to pray for Iran. Stand with the persecuted, expose lies, defend truth. That's what I'm trying to do in these videos. Why? Because when Christ enters a nation, chains fall. If you want biblical clarity on world events the media won't touch, and sadly some pastors won't touch, subscribe, like this video, enter the conversation. Remember, here we're about truth over trend, and Christ over culture. I'm Rob Singleton. I'll see you in the next video.